Lord, we ask you to lift our burdens and clear our minds and our hearts that we may accept your word. You know the needs of your flock. And every word that comes from your mouth, Lord, is for our salvation and our healing. We ask you, Lord, to please be with us among us and to bless every word that comes from Dr. Samir's mouth tonight that we may learn a valuable lesson. And we pray for all those who can't be with us today, the sick, the shut-in, the students who are overburdened, those who have no way to get to the church. And we pray for all of our brethren, all the servants, deacons, priests, the youth, and the elderly. We ask you, Lord, to be among us, send us your angels and saints to surround us during this valuable time of the word. Hear us as we say with all thanksgiving, our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
طيب. Where is everybody, guys? Where is everybody?
We're here. That's the most important.
You're here. That's the most important thing, طبعا. Anybody knows where is everybody? If there is something that we don't know going on today, huh? Anybody? Anything going on that we don't know about? Just coincidence, and people are not here. That's anyway. That's يعني put the burden on every one of us, guys, to check. Huh? غالبا. You're right. You're right. That's put the responsibility on us, guys, to يعني really get into the real good things and ask about people and call people. It's excellent that you are here. Like, it's not that good that not everyone is here. We have a responsibility, guys. It's not only that I come, that's enough. Like, it's always good to have everyone here. So please, if you know someone that is not here, call this person and tell them that yeah, we're not that boring. We'll see after this, exactly. Type. You know, we are doing a series about some heroes from the Old Testament that we don't hear a lot about them. Last time we spoke about Deborah. Well, Deborah was what? Deborah was what? She was the only female judge. Today we're going to talk about a personality that is really, really, really very interesting in the Old Testament. The guy is his name is Caleb. Caleb. In English, his name is Caleb, son of Shaphanna or something like that. Shaphanna, right, Ali? Right? وبالعربي اسمه كالب ابن يفنة.
Does that mean dog?
ها؟
Help? Does that mean dog?
Without the E, Caleb is different.
Caleb. Caleb. Look. there is an alif. Okay. So let me start with we have to know the story first. So who knows the story? Who heard about Caleb before? Let me see hands كده. Yes, that's the same Caleb of Joshua. Who knows his story? Or who heard about him? Who heard this name before? Caleb, son of Shaphanna or whatever. Caleb ibn Yafunna. Who heard this name before? You heard this name before? سمعته قبل كده. طيب. So it's gonna be a very interesting story actually. So I'm gonna ask who wants to tell the story. We have Ali, Aida, Samah, Musa, and Bishoy. Pick one. Who's gonna volunteer? It's a very simple story, guys. There is no a lot of complication in it.
So we get to choose who's gonna tell the story?
No. I want a volunteer from these people to tell the group the story. A volunteer. Otherwise, I'm gonna volunteer someone of these 5 people. اللي بيبص في الارض, people who look in the on the floor, they're gonna be picked. So I need to make eye contact. Okay, so I'm gonna ask Samah to do that. Since Samah helped in picking up the personality, and I know that
Well,
he
I don't
loves
know-
Caleb very much.
I don't know the story very well, but I'm going to tell what I do know.
Okay, very good. And then if someone else will continue, we can. We're gonna start. It's very important to know the story first, so we know what we can learn from this personality. Me personally, I consider Caleb the John the Baptist of the Old Testament. His main thing, his main character is very close to the character of John the Baptist. So we're gonna hear Samah, and then we're gonna Mariam.
I'm looking for now.
Okay. You know where you're gonna look? Okay, Samah is our Google today.
No.
Okay. So first before Samah, where do we read about Caleb? Old Testament. Very good. Anybody knows? Aida, do you know where? Hebrew in the Old Testament. Wow. That's new. Huh? First 5 books. Which book specifically? Ali, no? A guess? A guess of the 5 books? Any guess? Genesis, لا. أيوة. Exodus, لا. Leviticus, لا. Bravo, the book of Numbers. Excellent. So we read about him in the book of Numbers,
In Psalm?
chapter, لا.
Yeah,
No.
so it says Psalm 92.
The verse, yeah. Like in the story of Caleb. Are you sure looking the right Caleb? No, I don't trust you. I don't know why. Okay, so we read the story of Caleb mainly in 2 places in the Old Testament. First one, the main story is the book of Numbers, chapter 13 and 14. And the second time we read about Caleb in the book of Joshua. And it's very, very interesting to see how these 2 time الكاركتر بتاعه ايه. Okay, and what happened in the middle between the book of Numbers and the book of Joshua. طبعا I know that يعني our knowledge about the Old Testament is like my knowledge in Hebrew. لكن معلش bear with me, it's a very interesting story. So I'm gonna set the stage and then Sam is gonna continue. In the book of Numbers, we know that Moses led the Israelites from Egypt to go to the promised land, which is what? Ismail, Canaan, Canaan. Okay? On their way, there is a lot of miracles. The last stop before they enter the land of Canaan is a place called Kadesh Barnea. That's English. Kadesh, K-A-D-S-H. Barnea, B-A-R-N-E-A. بالعربي اسمه قادش برنيا. This is a place south of the promised land or south of Canaan, and this was the last stop of the people before كده يخشوا يبقوا they entered into the promised land. Okay? كل ده under the leadership of Moses. Okay? So I'm just trying to set the stage for this personality. Moses led the people out of the land of Egypt through the Red Sea, Mount Sinai, all what happened at Mount Sinai, and then they went north to a place called what? Kadesh Barnea or Kadesh Barnea. This is the last stop before they enter the land of Canaan. At this spot or this stop or this city, something very important happened that changed the whole future of the people who left Egypt. Something very important happened in Kadesh Barnea, the last stop before they entered the promised land. They changed the whole future of the Israelites who left Egypt. So what happened, Yasema, at this Kadesh Barnea? We are reading from the book of Numbers, chapters 13 and 14.
Let me get the.
موسى, you wanna help? أي معلومة؟ he went out from Egypt.
Okay. Because there's many people, obviously, who did wander the deserts, the wilderness, who did not enter into the promised land for a good reason. Anyone under the age, over the age of 25, everyone pretty
20.
much 12, right? They died.
20.
20. They all died. Died because of their,
This is very important.
Yeah.
Why they died? So what Samah is telling us, that people who went out of Egypt, and now they are in Kadesh Barnea, and they are 20 years and up and over, no one of them entered the promised land.
there was about 2 million people in the wilderness. And very, very few, a handful.
Very good. لا معلش يا سامح.
Sure.
You know how did we get the number 2 million? This is not like we make up numbers, okay? So in the book of Numbers, in the beginning, in the area of Kadesh Barnea, we know that there was 605,000 mighty men. That's how the Bible called them, okay? So they figure out this 605,000 mighty men. If you count the families, times 3 or times 4, you come with the number about 2 million. Okay? So at this moment, we are about 2 million. Okay? And then,
Okay, so less, a handful of them entered the promised land. But keep in mind, too, that journey from point A to point B, technically is like on foot, a 2-week journey, 11 days to 2 weeks. Okay? But it took how long for them to actually cross?
11 days to 2 weeks to go from Kadesh Barnea to the promised land. Actually, less than 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's an 11-day technically journey.
Yeah. From Kadesh Barnea, the last spot. Okay? To يعني كأنك رايح فلوريدا ووصلت ايه الستيت اللي قبل فلوريدا؟ جورجيا. Okay. So وصلت you arrived to Georgia خلاص ها تعدي تلاقي welcome to Florida and the Sunshine State. Okay? So the journey between the last spot and the promised land is 11 days. But it took them how long? How long it took them instead of the 11 days? 40 years.
They were too proud to stop and ask for directions.
40 years took the Israelites for a journey that should take 11 days. Why? Why? Let's switch to Ayub. Why Ayub?
Was that because when Moses asked him
Ayub what? Right.
so he asked him to go check out the land, and then I think 8 returned and said
Ten.
that wait, sorry, 8 said something and the other 2 said something.
10 and 2. Or what?
Oh, it was 12, sorry.
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay.
So 10 came back and said that it's a land that has like giants and they're gonna
Okay.
defeat it and they're not gonna welcome them.
Okay.
And then Joshua and Caleb came back and
Okay. احنا we didn't say anything yet عشان تسألي أسئلة.
No, I mean
Okay. So basically what happened in Kadesh Barnea, again the last spot before entering the land of Canaan, the people came and asked Moses, let us go and check the land. Okay? Check the land. This is, they're going to conquer the land. So they asked Moses to go and check the land. How we're going to enter? Are the people strong? Are the people weak? Is it a valley? You're going into a war. You're going to inherit this land, and you want to know what's going on, who we're going to encounter there. Okay? So Moses agreed, or God actually told Moses, okay, if that's what the people want, let them do this. So he sent how many people? Why 12? One from each tribe. How many tribes we have? 12. So he sent 12 tribes, we call them 12 spies, okay, to go and check the land. So they went, they saw exactly, and that's very important, all the 12 saw the same thing. So the type of people that are called what? The Anakim or the giants. عارفين جولياث كده والناس giants. They are giants. They are very big people. Okay? They saw that the land is, yes, it's flowing honey and milk, and it's a very prosperous land. Okay? All 12 of them saw that. But when they came back and gave report to Moses, they were divided into 10 and 2. So the 10 said, what, Yershoy? We cannot conquer the land. Why? There are giants. Okay? There are giants. We cannot defeat them. And actually they say something very interesting, because I'm gonna say that because I want to comment on this later on. They say that we were in their eyes as grasshoppers. And also we were in our eyes. يعني ايه بالعربي؟ يعني كنا في أعينهم كالجراد وكذلك كنا في أعيننا. يعني they saw us as grasshoppers. هم giants واحنا nothing. Okay, so they saw us as grasshoppers and we saw ourselves as grasshoppers. Okay, فكروا فيها دي لأنه there is something very deep in this verse. Okay, so they came back divided. 10 said no, we cannot conquer the land. Two people only said that if God has promised the land for us, we can conquer the land. These two people are Joshua son of Nun and Caleb son of Jephunneh. اسمه ايه son of what? son Jephunneh صح؟ Jephunneh. Okay? Caleb ibn Jephunneh. Okay? So God got very upset, and we're gonna see why he got upset. Because the Bible describes the sin of the people, and he decided that no one from the people who went out of Egypt, who is 20 years and up, will enter the promised land. So in order for these people to die, حصل what we call what? The wandering. يعني ايه wandering؟ يعني أنا واقف هنا، المفروض إن أنا أروح هنا عند ببنوتي. Right? Wandering يعني بعمل كده. That's wandering. How long they did that? 40 years. عشان كده, it's very interesting. We see Caleb in the book of Numbers, his age is 40. And in the book of Joshua, later on, we see him 80 or 85. 40 years wandering. يعني عمالين يلفوا حوالين بعض. تيهان اسمه بالعربي. Okay? Until everyone who is 20 years and up, who went out of Egypt, 20 years and up, died, and only from these people, Joshua and Caleb, who entered the promised land. This is the story. احنا كده in half hour we are still going through the story. أيوة أيوة. Why the age of 20? I think maybe, I'm not sure, like maybe why the age of 20? This is probably the age where you can be accountable. Because خدوا بالكم, there is something very interesting here. Did God punish the people because of the 10 spies who said we cannot conquer them? يعني روماني وفرانسوا قالوا we cannot conquer them. So the whole meeting is punished because Francois Romani did not believe, and the rest of the gang, the 10 people. Well, what happened? Ma, that's not fair. If only 10 people did not believe, why the whole congregation, 20 and up, did not enter the land? The Bible is very clear, and let's, Abuna, if anyone can have an English Bible. Let's read verse chapter 14, please. Verse 1 and 2. Chapter 13 of the book of Numbers, this is the stories that I told you. Okay? Chapter 14, this is the result, or what happened after they came back divided. So the whole,
So all the congregation lifted up their voices and cried, and the people wept that night. And all the children of Israel complained against Moses. And Aaron and the whole congregation said to them, if only we had died in the land of Egypt, or if only we had died in this wilderness.
thank you very much. So what's happening here? Guys, I know it might be a little bit difficult, but this is ABC Old Testament, by the way. This story is ABC Old Testament. Okay, so here in chapter 14, we see that the whole congregation followed what? The 10. So it's not I'm punished because Romania and Francois did not believe. Like I'm punished because I followed Francois and Romania. And why 20? Because I have to be of an age that makes me accountable for my decision. Okay. Any question about the story? So basically the story very simple. They went to Kadesh Barnea. Moses sent 12 spies to spy the land. They came back divided. 10 of them said, we cannot conquer the land. And 2 of them said, yes, if God has promised the land, we can conquer the land and we can overcome these giant people. Okay? God got angry and upset because of 2 sins that I hope we have time to go through them, and decided that people who did not believe are gonna die in the wilderness. So hasal what we call the wandering, until everybody over 20 years and up went out of Egypt, died in the wilderness, and then except Joshua and Caleb. Mariam.
So I read something about them trying to kill and measure.
No, that's Wikipedia. No, that's not true. Okay, so knowing this story, what is number one thing that you learn from Caleb? And remember, I said that Caleb for me is John the Baptist of the Old Testament. So what's common between John the Baptist and Caleb in a situation like this? And this is a very important point that I want to discuss today. What do we learn from the small story that we just said, especially if you want to compare it between make a comparison between Caleb and John the Baptist? What is very famous about John the Baptist? Huh? What? Forerunner. Okay, Mina said what? Okay. What is the most important event in the life of John the Baptist? Come on, he's the forerunner, that's very important. He is what? Okay, he's baptizing Jesus. Okay. What else? This is not what I want. Huh? Sama?
He's a voice crying in the wilderness about repentance.
Okay, very good. Repent. Okay, what else? That's something that stands up for John the Baptist. Telling what? Telling what? Who? Huh? Telling the truth to who? La, not to the people. Huh? Okay, he's comparing. No, in his life, guys, how did he die? He was beheaded. Why? Telling the truth about what? Okay, so the king actually wanted to marry his daughter-in-law. So he told him, no, you cannot do that. لا يحل لك أن تأخذ هيرودية امرأة أخيك زوجة لك. Okay, you cannot take Herodia, your daughter-in-law, wife for you. And he was beheaded for that. So Sarin is gonna tell me what's the comparison between this event in John the Baptist and Caleb. Who's gonna tell me what's the comparison between that we just did between John the Baptist and Caleb in this particular situation? Very easy. Joe. Okay.
He's a man of courage.
He's a man of courage. He can stand in front of people and say the truth. He can stand. John the Baptist stood in front of the king and said the truth, and Caleb stood him and Joshua stood in front of the whole congregation, 605,000 mighty men, and said what he thinks is the truth. وخصوصا انه he has 10 people. Imagine the situation. Imagine this: 12 people went. I'm going against 10 of them for something that you don't know if it's going to happen or not. يعني this Caleb ده بيقول لهم يا جماعه okay, these are giants but we can go and conquer the land. طب what if يعني انا if I'm his place, the big question I'm going to say, what if the people follow me, okay, I'm one of two, follow me and we go and the giants conquer us. مش كده؟ That's exactly what's going to happen in your mind. That's exactly what's going to happen in your mind. لكن Caleb had the courage to be different and to stand against what we call the majority. So telling you this, what do I learn from what I just said? What do I, Samir, learn from what I just said? What do you learn from that, guys? I just said it. عايزين حد غير سامح. Paula, go ahead. Trust the Lord more than you trust yourself. هنيجي لدي. بس I wanna stick the idea of being different and not following the crowd. Huh? You have to stand up for what is right. And that's the big challenge that we have in our generation or your generation. That it's very easy to just follow the crowd. Everybody is going to the beach on Friday night because it's nice at night, as if it's only nice on Friday night for whatever reason. And the whole group is going, so I'm going with the group. Okay? Who of us has the courage to stand, even if you are standing alone, for what is the truth? Or who is the truth? هناخد مريم وبعدين مين؟
And you could also learn from like his dedication, like his
لا احنا معلش sorry. We are talking about this point now. I'm not talking about what else do we learn. I'm talking about this point.
some characteristics, I'm telling you what.
لما نخلص الحتة دي. معلش أنا بحب أغلس I mean.
Can't that get you in trouble?
Very good. Excellent. لأنه the next question you are helping me with what I want to say. لأنه the next question, why I'm not like that? Why I'm not different than why I'm just following the crowd? Why I'm not following the crowd? There are consequences of what I'm gonna do, and I think one of the problems or one of the reasons why I don't have this courage انه I am not willing to bear the consequences. عارفين لما فرانسوا روماني، معلش فرانسوا روماني انتوا قاعدين on your right side هتاخدوا كل الكلام. فرانسوا روماني and the whole gang are going to the beach on Friday night. كويس ان انا اخترت البيتش مش حاجه ثانيه. So they're going to the beach on Friday night, okay? So if Bishoy مثلا, if Bishoy decides that he's going with them, خلاص. He's going with them, no consequences, okay? لكن if Bevnoti مثلا decide no, I'm gonna go to the meeting and I'm not gonna go with them, عارفين هيعملوا فيه ايه؟ هيتريقوا عليه, they're gonna make fun of him, انت you are the religious person, you love God, معرفش ايه, ايه. So people, because they don't wanna get the result and the consequences, and that's exactly what I said. Imagine Caleb came in his mind, what if the people follow my decision by going into the land and they got defeated? هيبقى شكله ايه? How is gonna look like? هيبقى شكله وحش جدا. And that's why we don't like to follow, we don't like to stand against the crowd. I mean.
Honestly, what I meant was like, say for example, everybody goes to church, but why do I need to go to church to be woke? I can just be home reading the Bible. So
themselves out of the crowd with their misinformed.
You're taking the opposite example. So I'm taking myself I'm taking myself away from the good. Okay?
Stand out.
To stand out. يعني okay. So what do you think about what Mina have said? Okay, so it's a better example. Thank you. So how I'm gonna decide which way I'm gonna go? How I'm gonna decide which way I'm gonna go? Am I going to stand out for something that is good, or I'm gonna stand out for something that is bad? And remember, in any of these cases, I have to bear the consequences. I have to get the results of my choice. So what makes my choice standing out from the majority, right or wrong? Fahim, what are we talking about? You understand, guys, what we're talking about? What makes my decision right? I'm going against the flow. I'm going against the majority. How do I know that what I'm doing is the right thing to do? Johnny.
If it's obedient to God.
That's it. That's it. Why Caleb had the guts to say, no, we can conquer the land? Why he say that? Believe in what? In God's what? Promise. So you have a base. You don't just go against the majority because I wanna stand out. You don't do that. Like if you are based on God's promise, if you are based on God's obedience, that's what's gonna make you right or wrong. So it's very easy to answer Mina's question. If you have a biblical base, you're doing right. If you have no base and you are just following your mind, probably you're wrong. Like if you have a base from the Bible, sometimes it's very difficult for us to go against the flow. And I know that we all suffer from that, whether you dorm or you don't dorm, whether you have a group from church or not. In a lot of instances, it's very difficult for us to stay and stand against the crowd. And that's very important, or number one point that I want to mention in the life of Caleb, is to stand for what is right, even if you stand alone or against the whole people. And how do I know that I'm standing for what is right? If you have a biblical base for it. Paula and then I, and then I'm going to move to another point. طب عايزة تسأل وبعدين maybe you can record. Right. Why didn't Moses?
Himself go instead of spending the 12 spies, or was this after the
No, that's before.
instead of saying 12?
Why did Moses go instead of sending 12 people? Huh? The command يعني هو when the people asked, God told Moses, okay, let them do whatever they want. The people asked, we read that in the book of Deuteronomy, that the people asked Moses that we want to go and spy the land and see how is the land.
Also, Dr. Samir, I think just a couple of quick two things. This was the succession plan for Moses, that Caleb and Joshua would actually be entering the promised land with a new generation. Not to mention, of course, Moses was forbidden to enter the promised land.
But that's what I was asking too, but it seems that that's what plays after his.
Moses is after, but Moses in chapter 20.
Yeah.
We are in chapter 13.
He was preparing the new generation to lead Israel. That's a succession.
Okay, so the first point, guys, is don't be afraid of standing, even if you are standing, even if you are standing alone against the flow. Don't be afraid. It needs a lot of courage to do that. And you are doing right if you are following God's promise. Do what is right. please stand strong against the flow. If the people around you are cursing, you don't need to do that to be cool like them. Amma, they're cursing, so I want to be like them. Let me also curse. That's very childish. Kids do that. Like, and we know better than this. We learn to stand strong for what is right, even if I'm standing by myself. How do I know? And that was Mina's question. How do I know that what I'm standing for is right? Just see what the Bible says. Let's see God's promise. See what the Bible says, and the Bible is going to very clearly tell you what is right from what is wrong.
To go back to your point, I think the hardest thing is sometimes we think we're scared of what the other person, what the other people
Think of.
think of us.
Exactly.
But why is it going to matter if they respect you, they respect your decision no matter what?
And believe me, they're going to respect you more for standing what is right. And then زي ما أقول بيقول, so what? That I'm going to lose respect, but I'm going to be respected by God. Okay? وصدقوني, from a very practical point, they would at the end, later on, they would respect you more than if you just follow them. They're gonna maybe make fun of you in the beginning, like they're gonna at one time they're gonna see that you are absolutely right, and they're gonna respect you more for that.
I think it's also important to figure out what is right. Like, we often think that we know what's right, and we convince ourselves that something's the right decision. Like in his example, like, I'm just gonna stay at home and read the Bible, and that makes me holy, and that's what's right. But our wisdom is a lot of the times not right.
That's very
So
true.
when-
That's why you have to learn, you have to know what the Bible is. Father of confession will help you with that. If you don't know, the father of confession would know. So you get people's opinion. Okay? Please, please, please don't be afraid, because I feel that being afraid and scared of being alone is one of the main problems that prevent us from standing for what is right. But we need to learn from Caleb, stand and say what is right.
In addition to that, like accepting, yes, there are consequences that I may face. I may face rejection. I may face all these things. But if I'm being obedient to God, then I will receive my blessing.
That's exactly what happened. Actually, him and Joshua are the only two people who enter the promised land. That's the blessing, that's the result, that's the consequence of what you have chosen. Like, and if you let me be cool like everybody else, you're gonna die with everybody else who is cool. That's exactly what happened with the other 10 people or the congregation. Okay? طيب, this is point number one. Point number two, I have a lot, but I don't know I don't think I'm gonna go through all of them. Mariam, you wanted to say something. Now we're back to the characteristics of Caleb.
Are you sure it's not irrelevant?
Now you are reading it.
No.
Is it yours? Well, it's Google.
So they spoke about dedication, right? Like, I think he displayed dedication because his life was really, like, fulfilled, and I think that's a lesson to learn.
Okay, so actually this is a good point. And this is what we read about Joshua when he is 85 years old in the book of Joshua. In the book of Joshua. Okay? So in the book of Joshua, they're already in the land. And there is a comment about Caleb. And it says that Caleb followed the Lord wholly. Let me just tell you, he holy, W-H-O-L-L-Y. جاية من whole, جاية من كل, entire. He wholly followed the Lord. That's in Joshua 14:24. Okay? And because of his 85 years of age, he followed the Lord. That's what brought him into the promised land and conquering the giant people. It's very important. Guys, you are not a loser. Let me put it this way. You are not a loser when you follow the Lord. You are not a loser. It's gonna come as an addition. You're gonna be blessed. The blessing is not my goal. Like, the goal is the obedience. Like, with the obedience comes blessing. Again, the goal is not the blessing. The goal is just to obey the Lord. And when I obey the Lord, the blessing will come. So that's point number 2. Point number 3, I want to talk a little bit about the idea that the giants saw us as grasshoppers, and we also saw ourselves as grasshoppers. كنا في أعينهم كالجراد وهكذا كنا في أعينهم. Can we read this in English? It's verse 13, last verse. Chapter 13, last verse. 33. 13:33. Can someone have it? Ali, please. 13:33.
And there we saw the Nephilim, the sons of Anak, who come from the Nephilim, and we seemed to ourselves like grasshoppers, and so we seemed to them.
Okay. So we seem to them as grasshoppers, and also we saw ourselves as grasshoppers. You know grasshoppers? جراد. أي كلام يعني دول they are giants وإحنا كده مش طالعين من الأرض. So what does this tell you? Mary. Huh? Very good.
The way you see yourself, what other people.
Excellent. The way you see yourself is the way other people are gonna see you. You need self-confidence, guys. These 2 points are absolutely right, and they go together. You need to have self-confidence. Okay? There is nothing wrong in having self-confidence. الأختي ما هواش the one who أنا ما بعرفش أعمل حاجة وأمشي جنب الحيط وهو على حساب بعدين. No. That's not the Christian. That's not the Christian. The Christian have to have self-confidence. But it's self-confidence that is coming from where?
Lord.
From God's promise. Caleb recalled God's promise that God promised you that you're gonna conquer and enter the land. So my confidence in myself, which is something very important. I'm sure we all saw this chisel video. I think Paul had it last prayer meeting, and Abuna Musa had it in one of the retreats. God does not do. حد عارف الجملة دي؟ junk or garbage. God does not make junk or garbage. I'm not garbage or junk. I am the Son of God, and I have abilities that God has promised me and has given me. So the Christian, yes, we do have self-confidence. And the self-confidence is coming from God himself and from God's promise. Again, why Caleb didn't see himself as grasshopper? These are the 10 people, guys. Why he didn't see? خدوا بالكم, it's very interesting. We're gonna end with this. Like why he didn't see himself as grasshoppers like the other people?
He saw himself in the image and likeness of God himself. And that's according to the promise that he received.
Exactly. Based on the promise that God has given them, he acted based on the promise, and he saw, yes, we can go and conquer the land. Why? Because God has promised us to conquer the land. So he had self-confidence based on God's word and God's promise. And we need to do that. We are not junk. We are not garbage. We are not. God does not make junk, guys. I am so important in God's eye, and I need to see myself as, yes, I can do it with God's help.
God does make junk. Like the murderers and the rapists and pedophiles and their junk.
Does God make them?
Yes, he does. He makes everybody.
No, God does not make. God does make murderers.
Saints.
He also turns them, he gives the grace to people, because many of the saints and the fathers of the church were among us. So he gives the grace to his creation to actually become more like him.
But what makes a murderer a murderer? And what makes a rapist a rapist?
Free will.
Nobody is born a murderer or a rapist, or it's some condition in their life or something that happened along the way that makes them who they are. So God didn't make them junk; they became junk.
That's very true. That's very true. They became junk. Huh? the part of the servant. They became junk based on many factors. Maybe the way they were brought up, maybe an incident that happened in their life, maybe whatever. But they became junk because of something that happened in their life. Basically, and that's very interesting. And that's gonna actually, Malis, give me 1 minute, I'm gonna explain this. Again, I said that before. When the 12 went, did they see different things? Well, all of them, they saw the same thing. They saw the same thing. They saw the land, and that's you read that in the book of Numbers, chapter 13. They saw the land flowing honey and milk. They saw the giants. They saw everything, all of them. Like some people chose to disobey and disbelieve in the Lord, and some people chose to, I'm answering Salim, some people chose to obey the Lord. So there are some people who chose to disobey, and there are people who chose to obey. God created everyone according to His image and likeness. God does not make junk. I make myself junk out of myself by my free will and by my choice.
Still, you're not junk.
I think your actions are junk, but I think you're born
You're right.
good, but
You're right.
changed.
You're right. Guys, it's very important to know that you are strong. And you need to have this self-confidence in yourself based on God's promise. Don't look at yourself as a grasshopper. That's not the right way Christians should look at themselves. I'm strong because of God's promise. Okay? The last thing I'm going to end up with, and again, things that happen. So we spoke about being different. We spoke about being holy, following the Lord, and we spoke about being or having confidence. You can think that your life is miserable. You can think that your life is miserable. Okay, and you go to Romani, يقول لك يا سمير ده غلبان, his life is miserable. And you go to Francois, you're like, wow, you're so lucky and so blessed. We are seeing the same thing. Did it ever happen to you guys that something happened and you have two friends or two people that are seeing it differently, or you are seeing it miserable and the other person is seeing it a blessing? Did it happen in your life?
Yes.
I think it happens a lot. يعني sometimes فانا احس ان انا يا ده انا قرفان قوي, وبعدين اخرج مع حد اقول يا ايه ده انا القرف بتاعي is nothing compared to what this guy is living. Okay, so it's very interesting that the same thing you can look at it different. And I want you to learn today to look at your life in a positive way. Okay, you can see your life miserable. Like you don't know anything about what's going on in the 30 people in this meeting. And if everyone would take a minute to say what's going on in his life, you're gonna صدقوني, you're gonna go home and thank God for everything that is not going well in your life. Because people see things differently. I want you to learn. عارفين لما مثلا ابقى عيان وهموت وبعد كده فرانسوا يجي يقول لي يا عيني عليك هتموت, وبعدين سوري روماني يجي يقول لي يا عيني عليك هتموت, وفرانسوا يقول يا بختك, you're gonna see the Lord. You see, there are always two different ways to see the same thing. There are at least two different ways to see the same thing. If you are seeing your life miserable, if you are seeing your life, I can't stand my life anymore, I can't stand my friends anymore. There are two ways to see the same things. I really want you to see it on a positive way. Because when you see it in a positive way, this is going to be reflected on you again. You are what you think of yourself. Okay? If you think of yourself that what's going on in your life is miserable, what's going to happen to you? You're going to be miserable. Okay? Like when you see the misery in your life as, yeah, it's a misery, like 30 people have more misery than the misery that I have. إيه يعني I didn't have sushi tonight. ولا wow. I didn't go to the gym النهارده. مثلا يعني الحاجات الغريبة اللي الواحد يسمعها دي. يعني طبعا I'm exaggerating a little bit. لكن the point that I want to make, these people, these 12, they went and saw the same thing. And actually they came back to Moses and gave the same report. كله قال the same thing. كله قال, everybody said, yes, it's a good land, it flows honey and milk. Yes, there are people there who are giants. Yes, everybody said the same thing. They gave the same report to Moses. Like in the interpretation of this, yes, we can do it. No, we cannot do it. I know for a fact that our life as college is not the rosy and easy one that you would love to have. Like in صدقوني, there are two ways to look at your life. It's either you're going to be miserable and upset, and probably in your misery, you're going to go to another step and start what? Blaming God for what's happening. Okay? Well, God might not even have anything to say or to do in what's going on in your life. Like it. Yeah, and there is a way, if you are miserable in your life, there is a way, I'm miserable, so I'm gonna stay miserable. Or there is the attitude of, yes, I'm suffering, my life is not going the way I want it to go, lakin, Ya Rab, it's in your hand, do with it whatever you want to do. There are two ways, and there are two ways you can see the same thing that is happening, whether in your life or in your friends. I'm gonna stop here. 4 points we spoke about. First one is, stay for what is right. Number 2 is, ايه يا جو؟ قول يا حبيبي. لا, you didn't forget, you just said it. So number 2 is what? مش هنخلص غير لما نقول 4.
He said believe in God's promise.
Believe in God's promise. Okay. He followed Holy the Lord for 85 years. He followed Holy, W-H-O-L-L-Y. He followed Holy the Lord. Number 3, dedication is number 2. Number 3, self-confidence based on God's promise. Very good. Self-confidence is very important, guys. Very important. Yes, I can do it because God has promised that He's going to be with me. Okay? And number 4 is everything has 2 points of view. Try to be positive in thinking about your life. Try to be positive in thinking about your life. Any questions? Any comments? That was Caleb, son of Jephunneh, or Caleb ibn Jephunneh. There is a lot of other things, but I'm going to stop here. عشان just do a recap. Any questions? Listen. Any questions before the announcements? Any questions? طيب, okay, كل سنة وانتم طيبين, guys. It's the beginning of the school year. I hope all of you will have a wonderful school year. Again, I see a lot of people missing. So please get out of your comfort zone. لا مش معقول study من أول يوم. What's going on here? Get out of your comfort zone, and if you know someone that is not here, please call this person. There are 2 very important announcements, and we're going to carry out these 2 announcements for the whole few months coming up. The Thanksgiving dinner is set for Sunday, November 11. Sunday, November 11. Okay? That's Thanksgiving dinner at St. John's, Mirror Lake Hall. Tickets are going to be available hopefully next week. Olivia is going to coordinate this event. She's going to pick group of people that are willing to help. Again, as I mentioned last time, if you are willing to help, whether in Thanksgiving dinner or the retreat, please let me know. I only got one person, Michael. Where is Michael? Michael هو الوحيد اللي قال لي I'm willing to help. So please, if you are willing to help, that will be a great blessing for you and for us. Okay? So Thanksgiving dinner tickets are going to be available next week, Sunday, November 11th. The retreat is set for January 18th to 21st. Please make your calendar, make your agaza, make your vacation, make your whatever. That's going to be a long weekend. You're going to be out of school. محدش يقول لي عندي امتحان on Sunday or I have a test on Monday. That's going to be a long weekend. We always do it at the same weekend, and it's going to be the same place as last year. But we have two changes. Change number one, that the girls are going to get better accommodations than last year, and everyone is going to get better food than last year. Huh?
Every year.
RBC. Okay? So, and we're going to form a committee and we're going to start announcing. But please save the date for Aida. Thanksgiving is November 11th, not November 10th.
How much is it?
The retreat we didn't decide. It's going to be either 155, most likely 155, or 150 based on your behavior. Naam? لا, there is no discount for students. There are discounts for couples. لكن the price المكان يعني based on what the guy have said last time, they really lost money from our retreat. So I know that they increased the price very much, but we're gonna try from our side to keep it in the same range as last year. I would love to do fundraising. If you have any fundraising ideas, the bazaar is coming in a couple of weeks. If you have fundraising ideas just for the retreat, that will be excellent. You're gonna benefit 120 people. If we can raise $600, that's $5 for the entire group. If we can raise $600 during the bazaar, if you have ideas, Samah is excellent with ideas. So if you have ideas, we can work with Samah and get a couple of ideas during the bazaar, and maybe we can raise $600. That would be perfect. That definitely will bring the price down to 150. Admission fee to the bazaar. Pre-service, guys, for the freshmen. Pre-service starts this coming Sunday at 10. You need to attend a liturgy, whether on Sunday or any other weekday, but you cannot attend pre-service without liturgy and without the college meeting on Sunday after the second liturgy. They go hand in hand, guys. Okay? There is an agreement between Ahmed, Kilmin, and myself that people who don't attend liturgy or people who don't attend the meeting at 12:30, you cannot just attend the pre-servants just to be a servant. That gives the very wrong message. Sorry? Sure.
Okay, so on October 6th, I don't know if anybody's heard about it yet. Listen, okay. I don't know, what does non-celebrated mean? Non-celebrated? Okay, whatever. So at St. Leon's Armenian Church in Fair Lawn, New Jersey, I think this is the first time we're doing it. It's a non-celebrated Oriental Orthodox liturgy followed by a Q&A with all of the Oriental Orthodox hierarchs. There's going to be 2 Armenians, 1 Coptic. I don't know if you guys know Amba David.
Yeah.
Ethiopian, 1 Syrian, and 1 Malankara.
Who is the Malankara guy?
We might know him.
I can't even read this thing.
I'm just joking.
Oh, okay, alright. So anyway, it's all age groups are welcome. It's free. It's going to be liturgy from 10 to 12:45, 1 to 2 agape meal. Okay, brotherly meal. Got it.
Yeah.
2 to 3 a Q&A with all the hierarchy.
Okay.
So get on
So
top.
October 6th. Okay. guys, we try really to encourage whatever is, whatever happens between the Oriental Church. The last announcement, Spirit Retreat. مين خلصنا آخر أنا. The Spirit Retreat is next weekend. The Spirit Retreat is next weekend. If anyone wants to go, I understand that the price is still $125. Okay, let's pray. أخيرا يا رب اجعلنا مستحقين أن نقول لك شكرا. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. On earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Christ is the Lord. Thank you guys for